Good evening, everyone, and welcome. I hope all of you had a restful holiday Thanksgiving season. And of course, we have Christmas coming up. December is a fast-paced month full of activities and, of course, more eating. But I'm glad that you're here tonight. Welcome. I'd like to call this regular meeting of the San Felipe Del Rio CISD Board of Trustees to order. Our secretary, Mrs. Webb, is not here, but our vice president, Ms. Gonzalez, could you call roll for us?
Yes, sir. Mr. Galindo?
Not here.
Mrs. Guanajuato Webb? Not here.
Not here.
Ms. Haynes?
Here.
Ms. Luna Chavez?
Here.
Mr. Mesa?
Here.
Mr. Overfelt? And myself. Sir, we have a quorum.
Thank you very much. Let the record show that we do have a quorum of board members and that this meeting was duly called in accordance with the Texas Open Meetings Act, Texas Government Code, Chapter 551. Today's meeting, again, Monday, November 27th, 2023. Again, we'll have Mr. Overfelt will be here a little bit late, but he will be here for this meeting. We'll have opening ceremonies, first with a moment of silence for personal reflection, followed by the Pledge of Allegiance. Would everyone please stand? I pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, liberty and justice for all. Thank you very much. First item that we have is recognitions, item number 4 on our agenda, the Fine Arts Jazz Band presentation. Mr. Rios.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, we're going to be featuring our jazz band. We had initially planned to have the group perform at the December meeting, but we're actually going to be having this group traveling on Monday, December the 18th, as we are going to be going to Chicago for the Midwest Clinic. Which is a big honor in itself. We are the one and only jazz band from the state of Texas selected to go and participate in that. And so that's going to be a really great treat for our students, and we're going to be representing Del Rio, our district, our Laughlin community, and it's, that's going to be really, really something else. I do also want to acknowledge we had some students out of the group that competed in the for a chair in the TMA All-Region Jazz Band. This year we had 15 students that earned the position in this group through a competitive audition process. Del Rio had the largest amount of students represented by any one school. They performed in concert at Wagner High School along with all the other students that earned a spot in the ensemble. And all these jazz students that perform come from different high schools from within our region, which is San Antonio and Eagle Pass. And they did an awesome job for that. And all those of you that made the all-region band, will you please just raise your hand, or drumsticks. So again, needless to say, Del Rio knocked it out of the park in the region contest, and that's why they're going to Chicago. So without any further ado, I'll turn it over to our Del Rio High School ensemble under the direction of Mr. Morales and Mr. Medina. And so we want to thank all the support that we've been receiving from our administration. These kids are great, and Chicago, here we come. So, so that was a Latin tune entitled Ojitos, and so, you know, a little Latin jazz that they'll get to play in Chicago, so I'm sure that'll be a song that's going to be very much a crowd pleaser, as well as an extended program that they will have when they're featured at one of the performances there at the Chicago Midwest Clinic. Mr. Morales, anything you'd like to add?
I want to thank our community and we did a lot of fundraising that happened, and there was concession stands at the football games that we did. And then the school district really stepped up and helped us out too. We want to thank the board, Dr. Rios, the school administration for allowing us, you know, the opportunity and everything, and so we to be able to do this. We're only 3 bands of the whole United States, high school jazz bands, were invited to the Midwest Clinic. It's the largest conference of its kind in the world for band directors and orchestra directors. And it's in McCormick Place West in Chicago. And so that song, Ojitos, Michelle Fernandez composed that song, and she's actually coming down on the 11th to Del Rio to work with our band. That song was composed, it's supposed to kind of like symbolize like a baby as it's born, and it's kind of goes as it grows and as it grows through life and stuff. So it's a very, very special piece for the group to perform and for her personally. And so we're really, really, that's one of only 9 pieces that we're performing at the Midwest Clinic. And so we want to invite everybody to I believe it's the 14th. Is it the 14th is when we have, because normally what we do is that we have the middle school jazz band perform, then the second jazz ensemble from the high school, the non-varsity group, and then the varsity group perform at our winter concert. But now, because they're performing an hour set, we're going to do a standalone concert featuring just these beautiful young women and men. And so we're going to do that on December the 14th here at the SBC. And we want to invite everybody, the whole town, because this product right here has been working since June. That's when the group, we auditioned them at the end of May. These are the students that made the group. And then we started working on our sets since June. And so we kind of come back to it during the marching season and stuff, because most of the kids, almost all of the kids are in marching band. And so we had to kind of, put that aside a little bit for marching season, but then we picked it up. So it doesn't sound that bad for the first day coming back from Thanksgiving break, from a week of not meeting. And so imagine how wonderful they're going to sound in 3 weeks. So we're extremely proud of them, and and this is just the half of the school year. We still have competitions next semester that we're looking forward to, and just representing Del Rio as as best as we can, as well as these guys have done in the last couple of years. So we are really, really proud of you guys, and so yeah, thank you, Mr. Rios, thank you, board, thank you, Dr. Rios.
This group was amazing. I just want to say it's the largest group that I've seen, and congratulations. Looking forward to December the 14th to hear you again, and I wish the best for your travels in December. Again, it was obvious there at the convocation, teacher convocation, how awesome you were. So I thank you again for representing Del Rio and doing such a great job. Thank you, directors. Awesome. Okay, let the record show that we have Mr. Overfelt with us. Do we have any citizens to be heard, Terry? None signed up? Okay, next item that we have is item 8, reports. First report that we have is climate survey update. Ida Gomez, we'll allow a little bit of time for, yes. Okay. We're gonna switch an item here. We're going to let the Education Foundation go first, okay, if you don't mind.
Of course.
And we'll allow a bit of time for the musicians to gather up all their equipment. Awesome. You did such an awesome job. Yeah.
You want to fit to screen? Oh, nice, thank you. Just left and right. Yeah, because I'm gonna sit.
You guys did awesome, okay? Doing great. Should we allow me a bit more time? Can we start? Okay, we're going to go down to item D on 8, San Felipe Del Rio CISD Education Foundation Annual Report. Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. I am honored to introduce to you this evening the board members for the Education Foundation for a School District, and they are here to present the 2022-2023 annual report. I'd like to introduce Mrs. Griselda Martinez, who is the president, and I'd like to also introduce Mr. Eddie Amezcua, who is the vice president, and they're going to lead us in this presentation tonight.
Welcome, y'all.
Thank you, Sandra. Mr. Mesa, Dr.
Welcome.
Rios, and board members, I am really very excited to be here. I was last year, and I am happy to be here again this year. I know that a lot of us have things to do, so not all board members are here. Some of the board members who are here today, I'm going to recognize all the board members, and if you're here, please stand. And if you want to scream and holler, go ahead. Okay, we have members Dora Fernandez, Janie Garcia, Billy Guerra, Sandra Hernandez, Peter Ojeda, Aaron Rodriguez, Nancy Rodriguez, Melissa Serrano, and Nereida Martinez, Treasurer George De Leon, Secretary Dr. Carlos Rios, Vice President and my fearless helper all the time, partner in crime, Eddie Amezcua, and yours truly, Griselda Martinez, the president. The San Felipe Del Rio Consolidated Independent School District, mouthful. Education Foundation is a foundation that I am very, very, very proud to be a part of since I retired. Our goals are great and our work is huge. As our goals, we like to recognize educators, and we also like to recognize students' achievements. They are all committed to teaching and the students to learning, and we thank them for that. Now, as board members, we all work hard. There are months that we kind of take it a little slow, but most of the time our work is involved with fundraising projects for the innovative teaching grants and student scholarships. Scholarships for high school seniors. In 2022, to 23. I'm going, where's the 23? The Education Foundation awarded 16 scholarships totaling $15,500, which is very good in my book. A tradition which began during the pandemic, board members took the time to personally hand-deliver scholarship awards and yard signs to each scholarship recipient. You'll see some of the photos up there, and delivering these awards has been a highlight of the board members. We really enjoyed going to their homes, knocking on the doors, and making a big hoopla about thanking them and congratulating them for being recipients of the scholarships. And of course, the family loved it too. Next, we recognize innovative teaching in our school district. And boy, do we have many, many teachers with great ideas, and they always think outside of the box. Reading their innovative teaching grant applications is tedious, and it's also a lot of fun and hard to decide on, wow, which ones do we award? It's a tough job. This fall, we awarded 24 innovative teaching grants. And get ready for this. Totaled $38,488 that we gave to the teachers. Applications were submitted by the teachers and counselors across the district, and the winning grants were handed out during the convocation in August. And there you have a picture of the proud recipients. Fundraising efforts, Adventure on the Creek. Now, that is a little too physical. I don't know if you remember my telling you about it last year, but that is one event that brings in a lot of money, and we see people from all over Del Rio and from surrounding communities that come in and compete. And for me, to them, I say great power to them. It is a fun evening. Morning. The work involved in putting this project together is just huge. And Dr. Rios makes sure that everything is set right where it's supposed to be. He doesn't carry a whip, but he makes sure it gets done. This past spring, the Education Foundation successfully hosted the 3rd annual Adventure on the Creek race, which was featured on the television show YOLO, Texas. There's Eddie up there. He doesn't have his running pants on.
I was working.
Ah, yes. Next, we have fundraising efforts, annual dinner and auction. This is the evening when the community comes together to support the Education Foundation at our annual dinner, and we have an auction, live auction items and silent auction items. And of course, it is through this event that we are able to raise thousands of dollars. And of course, it all goes back to teachers and students. You see some pictures there of people having a great time at our last dinner and auction, and you've got to save the date. I'd like to see you pull out your cell phones, please. Make sure they're quiet. Save the date, April 12, 2024, at Enchanted Jardín, and we're putting on the Ritz. 2024 annual dinner and auction. All of you are welcome to attend, and we're asking that you invite many, many, many other people to attend. I hope you had time to save the date. Fundraising efforts, 2022-2023. Some of our largest supporters are listed here on this slide. Bank and Trust, Texas Community Bank, Border Federal Credit Union, Linebarger Attorneys at Law, Del Rio Towing and Wrecker, Wings and Rings. There he is. There's the bull. HEB and Brown Insurance. I'm not going to name them all, but they're there for you to read. We are very grateful to all of our sponsors. Couldn't do it without them. I'm going to hand it over to Eddie now. He's the man with the numbers. Thank you all very much.
Thank you very much, Griselda. And let's not forget the people that actually went into the event and bid on the silent auctions and live auctions as well. Without their support, we weren't able to reach our goals. So financial summary of 2022 and 2023. Compared to last year, Adventure on the Creek 2, we did 7,332. And our big money that comes in is our dinner. Without our dinner and auction, we wouldn't be able to do what we do best, right? So we reached 56,892. This was able to give us the grants that we needed to fund and the scholarships that we need to fund, right? So compared to last year, 2022, we only gave $34,202 in grants. This year, we were able to exceed that at $38,489. Scholarships for the kids, we're also able to exceed what we did last year. Last year we did $11,000. This year we're able to exceed it to $15,500. And again, these are with Adventure in the Creek and dinner and the live auction is what brings together and meet our goals. One of the last slides that we have for you, we put it in a pie because who doesn't like pie? Assets of September 1st of 2023, our operating account, we have it at Texas Community Bank, which is $63,691. Our largest CD that we had put into is at Board of Federal Credit Union at $50,000. This year we're able to do a couple of money markets, a bank and trust of $10,000 a CD, and then we'll open a money market at bank and trust as well at $15,000 and $7. Without the support that we get from the community, without the support that we get from the board, and without the support that we get from everybody that pitches in and makes sure that we reach our goals, I actually like to say that we are the booster club of the teachers. So when it all comes out together, the winners are the teachers. So thank you very much. And if you have any questions at this time, we'll take them.
I'll ask the board members.
You can address all the questions to our secretary. Just kidding.
I just wanted to comment on the great things that are happening. I see that in a convocation where teachers are so excited to start their projects, their innovative programs, and I've seen so many great things like utilizing the San Felipe Creek, for example, and so many other projects that are tied into education because, again, everything is about learning, but it's also fun. Whether it's writing a newspaper for the school, I've seen so many innovative ideas from teachers, and I've seen the work from each and every one of you when we attend either the auction or some of the other events. So I just want to open it up to board members. If anybody else wants to say anything, I just want to thank you again for all the hard work.
If you want to put a team together for Adventure in the Creek, you have the first spot. We can put a board together, team together, and make it happen if y'all want to.
It
Thank
should
you.
be fun. Thank you for supporting us. As you can see, we're very healthy financially, and we're going to keep working hard
Looking
for our
forward.
teachers and our students.
Looking forward to April 12th.
Thank you very much.
Thank you so much. Okay, this time we'll go down to, again, reports. First item is climate survey update. Ida Gomez.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening we have a presentation for you. It's an update on the climate survey. As you know, for the last many years, we have a climate survey that goes out to all teachers and staff in the spring. So normally February, March, April, the survey goes out to all the teachers and it comes back. We share all the results with the principals, and of course we take note of any areas that may be are in need. So areas that maybe are stagnant, or maybe areas that are just very low. The presentation tonight is going to include the climate survey from 2022-23. It's just a portion of it. And then how we configured it to get more information that we needed in an effort to make sure that teachers are getting all the support that we can possibly provide. We just needed more information. We'll share the results from the revamped questions and the action steps. Different people will come up and present. Dr. Garza will present 3 of the questions and the results. Sandra Hernandez and Ms. Luna will answer one of the questions, and myself and Mr. Salinas will answer the technology. So in your packet, you will see that on the left side of the screen, we have the standard curriculum and instruction support questions. There's 5 questions on the survey that go out to the teachers each spring. These particular questions, however, did not give us enough information, and as you can tell, we're either stagnant or low, meaning we really in 5 years have not been able to change the perception or the need that the teachers need, but we weren't sure why, so we needed some more information. So very quickly, you'll see that on the left side, the question stated, I have sufficient access to resources and materials. Well, 71% of the teachers agreed, but that means that 29% did not. So then we changed that question. So we took the 5 questions on the left and we changed them. For instance, that particular question, instead of saying, I have sufficient resources, we turned it to, what resources and materials do you need the most to support your work? The next question is on there, I have sufficient instructional technology. We turned around and said, what specific technology do you require? In the spring, the question said, teachers have a role in selecting instructional materials and resources. When we did a further dive through thought exchange, the question turned into, what is the best way for you to have a role in selecting instructional resources? The 4th question is, staff development provides teachers with useful knowledge and skills. That was at a 55%. So we turned the question around and asked the teachers, what specific PD topics would help you to do your job the best? And finally, I am satisfied with the resources for teachers with special populations at a 50% for 2 years. And we changed that question to, what resources and materials do you need to support your work with special populations? So we just took the 5 questions that were rather, yes, I agree, no, I don't agree, and we turned it more into a narrative that said, what is it specifically that we can help you with? You will see on the following slides, we have the heat maps. As the teachers answered their questions, into the 5 different questions, the more a word came out, the bigger it came out on the heat map. So this is just a sample one. Whatever the question was, you can see that training was an answer that kept coming up in their narratives. So we ask them, what can help you and why, or specifically what, and those words are big. If you looked at this one, you'll see training, classroom development, technology, management are some of the bigger words. That's all the heat map is. So at this time, I'm going to turn it over. The next 3 questions will be from Dr. Sandy Garza, and she's going to show you the slide that will show the heat map. It'll show you on the left side, we worked with principals to say, okay, we have the heat map, this is what your teachers said. Now please have a staff meeting and get more specific. So you'll see the specificity actually bulleted on the left. Then the following slide is where each of the presenters are going to tell you about the plan of action. Okay, let me turn it over.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. We'll go over the first 3 questions of this survey. And this first one was, what resources and materials do you need to support, the most to support your work? And so we had hundreds and hundreds of responses, and so they were categorized as best as we could. And you'll see some of the examples there on the left with things such as science and social studies resources, math and reading, resources that are STAR aligned, special ed resources, strategies for short and extended answer responses, etc. And so one of the questions that came to mind was, we know that the district has invested a lot in creating a curriculum dashboard, and so teachers do have access to resources, but why are they feeling that they are not what they want? Are the things that they listed, like STAR aligned, resources for short and extended constructed responses, things like that, are they in there? And so one of the things that we determined from our needs assessment was that we really needed to build upon our strengths of our curriculum dashboard, but make sure we know that teachers have access to the system, but we needed to make sure that our resources are indeed student-centered, TEKS aligned, rigorous, and they've been vetted. And so we would go, I've personally gone through different classrooms and different planning protocols and I've seen some of these great resources, but they're not always in the dashboard. And so we knew we needed to design a system. And so our action plan was determined to be a communication system that ensures that materials are collaboratively vetted and selected by teachers via planning protocol, and that there's a system in place for us to update the curriculum dashboard. So that required a couple of steps that we've already started on, and the first one is to realign the CNI role. And so some of our curriculum instruction coordinators have already started providing additional campus support so that they can provide that support where a teacher could say, this is something that we feel will take what we have in the dashboard and take it to the next level. It's STAR aligned, it's something we believe in, and that we could facilitate to make sure that everything is housed there. So we've already done that, and we've started to create an online request system that can be used by campuses or teams, individual teachers, and teachers are, that link is on our CNI webpage, the district webpage, and so we're starting to see that some campuses are starting to use that already, and teachers are seeming very appreciative of that. The second question that we reflected on was the question that was posed to teachers on the best way for them to have a voice or a role in selecting instructional resources. And so you can see by the heat map some of the responses that received more attention or more repetition. And then some examples of the many, many responses, that open-ended responses we got. They want to be involved through committees, through surveys, input, research, and things like that. So again, we thought, how can we create a needs assessment that will identify our needs, the needs that the district has already invested in, and find ways to strengthen that. And so the action is to design a vetting system for the selection and adoption of curriculum resources as needed. So one of the first things that we did was we took a look at the high performing teachers district-wide in math, and that was the first curriculum piece that we started our research on, was math curriculum. We took our DMAC data to see who are our top performers and how are they getting such high student outcomes. Can we invite them to serve on a committee, making sure we have at least one voice per campus so that they in turn could represent that campus and at the same time provide their input and their expertise. So we created that curriculum committee specifically for math this fall, and we've already started meetings. So we started our first meeting on October 12th by convening the math committee. October 26th, the committee came together in person to review various math samples. On November 9th, we had a presentation from Go Math that showed us all the features of their kits and their online platform and ways that they can support our math curriculum. And then we have others coming up that will be presented to the math committee for Eureka, STEM Scopes, Savas, McGraw-Hill. We will, once the school year begins, the spring semester begins, we will be replicating the process for science, because we do have some work to do in making sure that our classrooms have a science curriculum that reflects the newest science TEKS. And then the third question was, what specific PD topics would help you do your job best? And again, you see the heat map. There was the word training used many times, time, classroom development, etc. You see the specific pieces. Again, there were hundreds of it, but we categorized and came up with some of these on the left. And just like we had done before, we took a needs assessment, created a needs assessment, trying to see, okay, we'd have several things in place, what's not working? We don't want to throw the baby out with the bathwater, but we want to build upon strengths. What do we need to do? So we know that we need to develop and implement a district-wide protocol of strong data analysis, practices to identify needs, monitor growth, and ensure effective instruction for all students. We have several tools. We have Aim High. We have the data that's brought to us on DMAC, on HB 4545. So we have lots of data sources. But we were thinking, what do we need to do to go beyond a spreadsheet? What do we need to do to go beyond the data that's really going to impact student learning? And so some of the actions that we're starting with, definitely not the only actions, but just to get started, again, provide resources for integrating technology to engage students in learning and student ownership. Student ownership is a big one that we've heard in the area of school improvement, and we really want to leverage our efforts and take data like that we get from those sources I mentioned, data that we get from student learning platforms, and be able to have students monitor their own data as well. But before we can do that, we need to make sure that all campuses have an understanding of technology resources available. So our teams through principal meetings have started creating portals and hubs and tables to make sure that we're all on the same page about what resources are available. The second thing is not only this is what's available, but this is what your usage is. So if you're a campus principal, not only are we providing the list of the resources that have been invested, but this is how much it's being used. So this is meant to help the principals and to help the teachers just keep a pulse on things to make sure that they're maximizing everything that the district has invested in. And then lastly, we've created a resource hub that provides access to videos and small learning and professional learning resources for implementation of stations, small groups, technology integration. And so this came about because we know teachers want more training. We know we have planning protocol that we can use CNI staff now that it's being repurposed to push in training. But what else can we do to reach the masses? So we created a resource hub. It is also, as long as you're logged into your district account, you can access it from our CNI page. It's called the Resource Hub, and you'll see that we're starting to load that with tools and videos and data and all sorts of things. And so we're trying to create a data culture for all levels. Will we take questions now or till the end?
Let's keep going.
Okay.
Good evening once again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. Following the presentation that you had earlier with Dr. Garza, you're going to see now a drill down, be more specific. The question here is, what resources and materials do you need to support your work with special populations? And looking at the heat map, you see the words resources, special, support, materials, populations, and bilingual. And so, looking at the information that we provided, there's some things that we have already have done, and the work is already in progress. And I'm going to introduce Monica Luna Garcia, who is going to elaborate a little bit more. I'm going to give you just a general overview, but if there are any questions later, Ms. Monica will assist in providing some more detailed information. But the board has already assisted us in moving forward in approving a consultant specifically for special populations. We approved Lisa Rogers and to implement Educating Diverse Learners. And what she does is she's a consultant that has started to work with Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary, and we created a needs assessment for the special population at that campus. And so what we wanted to do is to have her help and assist the teachers, the aides, and the units at Dr. Lonnie Green by establishing a framework for curriculum support, for mentoring, classroom management, and materials and visual aids that our units needed to have in order to optimize the teaching and learning for those students. Earlier, Dr. Garza mentioned that we wanted to implement a district-wide protocol of strong data analysis practices to identify student needs, monitor growth, and ensure effective instruction for all students. That also includes our special population students. So our special population students in the unit do have a curriculum. They have the N2I curriculum. They have curriculum support. But we needed to be able to work with them and mentor our teachers and our aides so that they can optimize their teaching and learning of the students in our special needs programs. So Lisa Rogers provides coaching and mentoring of teachers and the aides, provides those curriculum supports and resources. She's modeling some of the classroom instruction and structure, design, and the management in those small group instruction. And so what we're looking at is we're changing the culture of those classrooms. And we're going to also implement monitoring practices. So working with our special populations administrator, Kimberly Ross, we've worked with her schedule to allow her time to go back into those classrooms and monitor the implementation of those best practices that are being taught and coached with our teachers and our administrators. We've also are really happy to announce that we provided or we purchased classroom furniture for these classrooms, and we're hoping that with the change in the culture, the dynamics, also the curriculum, the furniture, and just the look of the classroom to be more inviting, more safe, more supportive of the students with special needs and diverse learning needs. So our upcoming plan of action, whoops, I think I might have gone too quickly. Coming forth, we want to replicate what we're doing at Dr. Lonnie Green. And we want to replicate that at other campuses and other special populations, such as Cardwell, Garfield, and Lamar campuses. Train campus leadership in understanding the implemented diverse learning culture at their campus. We have posted some aid positions because in looking at the needs at each of these campuses, some needs for extra support have come about. Those positions have been posted. and we are working to fill those positions. And then just looking at students who have not yet been identified in the programs, we want to also provide support for our general ed teachers and provide them with some of that professional development as well. So we want to develop a needs assessment looking forward to the spring and the fall. We want to be able to provide some of those supports that they can also use in their classrooms. And so we look forward to partnering with our C&I department, Dr. Garza, to be able to prepare for some of that future professional development. We also want to develop a guide for our campuses so that they understand what the support looks like, the supports of the role of the aide, what the aide could do to help the students, and the role of the critical needs assistant. We are moving forward. We actually started this fall with a development of a dashboard for special education. So it's still under development, but our goal is to be able to provide a hub so that our teachers can gather resources or can obtain resources on the dashboard, and everyone can use them in their classrooms. I'm going to ask Ms. Monica if there's anything else to add in addition to that. I think we might have covered.
I think we covered everything.
Yep. Okay.
Thank you. The final question that we had is we asked teachers what specific technology they needed. And you'll see in the heat map that they mentioned Chromebooks, computers, Wi-Fi, laptops. So when the principals went back and took the heat map and said, this is what you identified, but what do you mean specifically? They came back with they would like smart TVs. Some needed document cameras, programs like Aim High to track all students, not just those who have failed. Updated Chromebooks, headsets with mics for students, continual training on online resources, and faster internet. And now Mr. Salinas is going to explain the plan of action.
All right, so the plan of action on smart TVs. We did start in Tanisa with the construction, so they do have TVs there, smart interactive TVs. Garfield also has 20 with an ESC, the grant they got, the EFS grant. Our plan is to, start with either doing some at grade levels, by grade levels of the campuses, or by campus. But like I said, this should be a long-term goal. To deploy smart TVs to all the classrooms and get rid of all the old projectors and permitting boards they have on there. Document cameras, I'm sure everybody has a document camera in their classrooms. I have gone with my staff that informed them that if there is a teacher that's missing a camera or document camera, to inform us and we'll get one out there to them. But right now there's nothing out there that anybody has a missing document camera. Fast internet. Provide everybody fast internet through Wi-Fi. This summer we did do a Wi-Fi refresh at all the campuses except for freshmen in high school. Those campuses, freshmen in high school, will get the older equipment that we pulled out of the other campuses, so they get at least a newer system that they have right now. So, but that is in progress right now. So. I'm sorry, the high school did get theirs updated. We did this in the November for December testing, for the STAR testing, so they have been updated with the older equipment that was pulled out of the other campuses. So they should be good to go.
And finally, the last three questions that are concerns and needs that the teachers indicated was the tracking system. They'd like a tracking system for all students like Aim High. So we will be talking to Medicsoft to see what plan we can actually come up with. The headsets with microphones, we have purchased and distributed to every bilingual student in the district. So Ms. Karen Schaefer and her department they have taken care of that already. And then of course the continual training that they wanted for all the online resources. And as Dr. Sandy mentioned, there is a process now where a teacher can just go on a link, request the training, and it gets done. So those are the updates to just kind of show where we had a climate survey. We needed more information than just I agree or disagree, because we really needed to know if you're not in agreement, how can we help you? Are there any questions?
Board members? We'll turn it over to board members. I want to make a couple of comments. It's exciting to see the work that is going on behind the scenes, especially, again, the questions rewording to try to get some more specific information to really hone in on the issue. There's some things, for example, updating Chromebooks. We just got the Chromebooks. I don't know what that means, but in regarding like science, for example, it's exciting to see some work done in that area, because again, it is, see the scores in that subject matter, and they seem to be quite low. But there's a lot of exciting work that is going on, the work of the committees, replicating what, again, some great teachers are doing on some of the campuses so that they can get that information disseminated to other areas of need. In regard to technology, I don't know what document cameras are, but I'm sure that these are cameras either to capture and record some of the students' work that is being done in the classroom. Would you elaborate a little bit on document cameras? Either one.
Yes, sir. It's just a camera where you slide the paper under it and it will project on the screen. So you put the document kind of right here, and then that will project on the screen for all the students to see.
We used to call them opaque projectors.
Correct. Exactly right.
Showing my age. Okay, well, it's another new
fancy.
word. Anyone else? Again, thank you so much for the update. Dr. Rios, you're trying to get.
Yeah, I just wanted to mention one thing that we didn't include in the presentation. So first off, I'm glad we did this. We had been planning to do this since a few months ago, but the information that was gathered, it was just a big process. So thank you, ma'am, for sticking to it. We had to go back and survey all the teachers, then go back and try to whittle the information down. So it was great work. The other part is that if you noticed on those heat maps, the word time came up a lot. And that's something that Ida Garcia is going to have to work with the site-based decision team, because this last year we changed our calendar to have enough days for summer school. But what that in effect did, it took a lot of the staff development days away from the school year. So now Monica Luna and Sandy Zuniga Garza, they have to provide all this training, but we don't have that staff development days during the year that we had before. On top of that, we got the 21st Century Grant, which brings a whole lot of kids after school in the summer. So a possibility to provide all that time is just to say, we're gonna bring the kids in on the summer through the 21st Century Grant, and this coming school year, which won't help us much for this climate survey this year, but the following school year, we might put those extra staff development days back during the school year to provide, because training is the biggest one, but right before training, it's time. You know, it's kind of difficult to provide the time if our only staff development days are at the beginning of the school year, and then the summers where people are either working or they're on vacation. So that's just something that we didn't include here, but that concept of time is huge. You can't have training without it. And we'll at least have an option to have staff development days back during the school year for the coming year.
Again, I appreciate the work that is going on behind the scenes. I get excited because, again, I think teachers are getting what they need in regard to the assistance that they're asking. It's being more specific, and it's really tuning in to what their needs are. And I know that when, as board members, we attend exhibits with all the materials that are becoming available, there is a world of instructional resources that is coming out. I know that in the past, videos were used to introduce lessons back then, when I was still an administrator, and it helps for them to understand the objective that is going to be taught for the day. And then, of course, the information goes along with teaching that specific objective. So again, I'm glad that teachers are being, again, more assertive in getting the questions answered. And of course, Dr. Rios will do what he needs in regard to the calendar to provide additional time for staff development. So again, thank you for the presentation.
Thank you,
I
sir.
think it's very rewarding, again, for us to, and satisfying to know that there's a lot of work that goes on behind the scenes to be
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. Tonight's presentation includes the Ceniza Hills Elementary Park status, the electrical bus project status, as well as the SGLC move to Old Cardwell project status. The park status, the fields and walking trail have been completed, as well as the landscaping. This past week, the landscaper finalized the seeding, and as of this morning, they were just irrigating the fields. All the plants, shrubs have been installed. The playground itself, the playgrounds, swing sets have been installed, as well as the canopy. The only thing that's pending is the installation of the fall protection, which should be here in the next couple weeks. The lighting, the infrastructure has been installed, as well as the footings for it. All that's pending is receiving the light poles and the lamps. The electrical bus project, the infrastructure work has begun as of a couple weeks ago. The trench has been constructed. The electricians are supposedly starting with placing the conduit sleeves and started pulling wiring. We're supposed to be receiving the charging stations in approximately 2 to 3 weeks. So by that time, we should continue on with the progress. The SGLC move, excuse me, staff is working on the perimeter fencing. The old furniture has been removed. They've enclosed the window openings and working on painting and installing flooring. The picture here shows one of the classrooms that's been completed as far as the painting and in time for the department to move over after the break. Any questions?
board members. Ms. Orfeld?
I guess more towards Dr. Rios. Can you refresh my memory why we were going to move SGLC over there as opposed to its current location?
This is part of the bigger plan. Our goal is to eventually move out of as many portable buildings as possible. So all of the portable buildings that are behind Annex 1, our goal is to do away with them. They're the most energy inefficient. And we also want to group all the services. So our goal is to turn the SGLC back to what it originally was, which was the CNR department, and move everybody out of those portable buildings. We have questions as to what we're going to do with the rest of old East Side or old Cardwell building. Maybe that would be the new home of the maintenance department, because we also want to put up for sale the Austin building. We're just trying to reduce the amount of buildings and save as much energy and group people to where who they report to. So hopefully, our goal was to save $100,000 in electricity this year. So we've done certain efforts. Closing down buildings is a big part of it, sir.
Okay. And that kind of end goal of maybe selling Austin off, it would be a sale. We're not going to trade it to the county or anything like that because we've already put a lot of money into it.
Well, our first goal is to sell it so that we don't have to maintain it. And there was some interest from one of the nearby churches.
Okay.
So we would obviously put it on the market first and hope that it would sell for a fair market value. We did put money into it. So that would be the first goal.
Okay, thank you.
Anyone else? No further questions. We'll go on to the next report.
Okay, continuing on with the work orders. The maintenance department for the month of October, for 0 to 15 days, 1,114 work orders were submitted. 1,081 were closed for a percentage rate of 97. For 16 to 30 days, 145 were submitted, 120 were closed for a rate of closure rate of 82.8. 31 to 60 days, 96 were submitted, closed was 67 for a percentage rate of 69.8. And from 61 to 90 days, 29 were submitted, 13 were closed for a closure rate of 44.8. Technology department, 0 to 15 days, 3,740 work orders were submitted, 3,698 were closed for a closure rate of 98.9. 16 to 30 days, 207 work orders were received, 190 were closed for a closure rate of 91.8. 31 to 60 days, 163 work orders were submitted, 96 were closed for a closure rate of 58.9%. And for 61 to 90 days, 76 work orders were received, 37 were closed for a closure rate of 48.7. Transportation, 0 to 15 days, 171 work orders were received, 143 were closed, closure rate of 83.6. 16 to 30 days, 34 were received, 22 were closed, closure rate of 64.7. 31 to 60 days, 25 were received, 21 were closed, closure rate of 84.0. And 61 to 90 days, 1 was received, and it remains open.
Any questions from board members? If you have a chance, board members, do take a drive down Ceniza Hills, and there's so much work that goes on sometimes on the weekend. I passed by Saturday, and they were spreading the seed for the grass, and they're working on the, I guess, walkway around the field. But there's so much work in landscaping and lighting that is going on still with that area. I know that there's another topic that will be coming up later on for the dedication of the street to the city. But everything looks great in regard to the fencing, the landscaping, the planting of the grass. Everything looks outstanding, just a great thing to see for that area. So Dr. Rios, just one question in regard to opening it up for the public, because it will be, again, dedicated for the use of the public as well.
Yes, sir. Our goal is to have a grand opening mid to late January. The security at Ceniza Hills is awesome. They will be responsible for going and closing, opening up the gate before they leave to make it a public park, and then ensuring that it's closed first thing in the morning, that all the gates are locked up, so that we can ensure that the community is able to use it, but that it's very secure in the morning. We'll also work with the city police to see if they can be responsible for locking it up in the evening. That way it doesn't stay open all night, just an added precaution. But we are excited about that joint venture, and just how nice it's going to be, and hopefully we can replicate that next year at Cody Warlaw, and then possibly at Del Rio Middle School later, and eventually some of the other schools south.
So there will be another walking trail for residents in that area.
In that area, yes, sir, and it'll have lights.
Okay, great, awesome. Thank you, sir.
Thank you.
Next report we have is attendance and discipline report. We had that in our packet. Do we need Michelle Smith to do a report, or do you want to ask any questions if you have them? Anyone? No. I just want to make several comments. Again, outstanding work by Irene Cardwell. Their numbers are up for attendance. Buena Vista is doing a great job. Ceniza Hills. I'm somewhat concerned with some of the other campuses that I see from last year to this year, the comparison. The attendance is going down overall, but great efforts are being done. Bobby Barrera, always up there, and of course early college, high school, but I take into consideration the size of the enrollment and all that, but a lot of great efforts from, again, Buena Vista, Bobby Barrera, Ceniza Hills, Irene Cardwell. I just want to stress again the fact that with all these things going on, like the legislative session, the 4th that ended, and possibly continuing later on this week, we don't hear too much of new revenue coming into the schools, and so I focus on improving attendance because, again, the ADA does generate funds for public schools and, again, all the activities that go on throughout the year. So I appreciate everyone that is trying hard, but I still need for you to try a little bit harder again. Some of the other elementary schools and secondary, I think I want to focus on several. 6th grade is doing the same as last year, so it's staying with the pace. 7th grade is doing well. 8th grade went down. And again, I take into consideration the student enrollment, but please make every effort, again, to send those parental aides to look for children that are not in attendance. Everything you can to be able to help us with the funding for next year. So again, I appreciate all efforts. And no questions on discipline or anything else. So we'll leave that report. Next item that we have is the consent agenda. There are some minutes that were left out of our packet that was given to you. You should have it in front of you. Again, there's I think the October 16th minutes were on your desk in front. There's also, again, some purchase orders. If you have any questions on any item in the consent agenda, now's the time to ask. We will not read the donations. We'll have those on our website. Again, thank you for people that donated and businesses, as always. So at this time, are there any questions for any item on the consent agenda?
Yes, sir.
Mr. Orfeld?
G5.
G5. Consideration to approve a contract over $5,000 with 180 Gerber Life Company and purchase order over $25,000 in the amount of $329,642. Funding source, self-funded account for stop-loss insurance. Ade Garcia.
I guess my question is, why the switch in the middle of the year from one stop loss to another? Right, because we currently have a stop loss and we're moving to another.
No, it's for, I'm sorry.
So
Dr. Rios.
Mr. Orfeld, we're doing the we did the bidding now, or Brown & Brown did it for us, but it takes effect January 1, because that's when the plan year starts.
Okay.
So they bid it out, and this is the best value for our dollar when we compared the 3 people that submitted, or 3 groups.
Okay, so it's not gonna go into effect till 1 January.
Correct.
Okay. All right, thank you. Appreciate it.
Thank you. Anyone else? If no further questions, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. We go on to item 10, administration. First item we have is consideration to approve first reading of TASB Localized Policy Manual Update 121, affecting policy CVA local, facilities construction, competitive bidding, CVB local, facilities construction, competitive seal proposals, and DEA compensation and benefits compensation plan, FD local, student welfare, freedom from bullying, Sandra Hernandez.
Good evening once again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. The draft policies that have been brought forth for this evening for first reading were reviewed by the Board Policy Review Committee on November the 9th, 2023. This group of policy drafts is the second half of Policy Update 121. So taking you back, we did approve part of Update 121. This is the second group of policies. The revisions to CVA local and CVB local, both of them were made to align with Board Policy BJA local, which authorizes the superintendent to delegate responsibilities to other employees of the district as permitted by law. Thus, it's not necessary to include a reference to the superintendent's designee, so the only change is to remove superintendent's designee from the text in these policies. Also in DEA local, to eliminate the possibility of confusion in the language of this policy, you only see a change from the term bi-monthly to semi-monthly. The overall policy did not have a major change other than that one word that was changed. In the policy FD local regarding admissions, this has been updated to delete an administrative code rule that was repealed by the State Board of Education, and it became effective March the 9th of this year. And then the last policy, which is FFI local, this is the bullying, the freedom from bullying. And the change in this policy references the addition of the administrative regulations, which will include the minimum standards for bullying prevention. And so there are some steps that the administration, the policy language, it addresses reporting of students and staff by students and staff, and there are recommended revisions to address the new minimum standards. Now, our administrators have received a preview of what those minimum standards are. They will now be coming into effect, and we will now be working with implementing the admin regulations that go to be able to support the changes in this policy. Are there any questions?
Board members? Again, it's gone through committee. I think Dr. Rios understands that he is the person responsible, no designee.
Yes.
The majority of them change that. So Dr. Rios, it's all yours, sir.
Thank you.
No questions, so again, thank you.
Yes, I'll
we'll
read the
read
recommendation.
the recommendation,
Yes,
please.
sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the first reading of TASB Localized Policy Manual Update 121, affecting policy CVA local, facilities construction, competitive bidding, CVB local, facilities construction, competitive seal proposals, DEA local, compensation and benefits, compensation plan, FD local, admissions, and FFI local, student welfare, freedom from bullying as presented.
You heard the recommendation from administration. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Becky Chavez, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you very
sir.
much. Next item we have is 10B, consideration to dedicate district land to the city of Del Rio for the construction of Enchanted Way in connection with the development of Ceniza Hills Park, and to authorize the board president to execute a letter to the city memorializing the dedication. Hector Chapa.
Good evening once again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, board members. As part of the MOU between the district and the city of Del Rio to develop Ceniza Hills Park, the district was to develop and construct Enchanted Way extended all the way to the north to connect to the existing subdivision. As part of the MOU, the district was to dedicate that right away as well as the street over to the city so they can take care of it, maintain it, and from now on. This letter would be executing our first portion with it to the city.
Questions from board members? And I just want to say, because I live in that area, is that opening that street made a world of difference. The city expected the traffic to go down Agarita, and they placed a couple of stop signs. After opening that street, they're all taking Enchanted Way and moving a little bit further up. So it's alleviated a lot of the traffic congestion in Agarita, because again, the people back there did not have that access to, two roads that they could choose from. They only had one. And back then, you would divert the traffic through some of the streets prior to getting to Enchanted Way. So it alleviated a lot of traffic, created a great solution for us because, again, we anticipated a lot of heavy traffic, and it's not, Enchanted is providing that need for the residents as well as the drop-off for parents and students. So with that being said, would you read the recommendation? No questions from board members?
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees dedicate the land necessary for construction of the extension of Enchanted Way and authorize the board president to execute a letter memorializing the dedication of the land and street to the city of Del Rio in connection with the MOU.
For the recommendation from administration, I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, sir. Thank you. Next item we have is technology and operations, item 12. Consideration to approve the construction document phase with Amistad Consulting Services Incorporated for the Del Rio High School Access Loop Phase 1 project. Hector Chapa. Now I know.
Last fall, the district engaged Amistad Consulting to prepare the Del Rio Access Loop. As part of that project, Phase 1 was to develop on the first 300 feet west of Main Street in order to provide a driveway to the life skills unit at Freshman. Amistad Consulting has finished the construction plans, and administration is requesting approval to advertise, for the board to approve the plans and to advertise for the project construction.
Board members, questions?
This is to advertise, the approval to advertise? Is that what?
To approve the construction documents.
So we may proceed to advertise.
So proceed to.
If I know when we first discussed this was an excellent idea for, again, diverting the traffic from the front of the school to the back, and for safety reasons, was a big factor for all kinds of things connecting to different areas where evacuation could be a lot faster, and the congestion wouldn't be as much, again, for utility vehicles and emergency vehicles as well. So it's a great thing to look forward to. And again, I realize that these are only construction documents, but it's a start. Anyone with a question? Dr. Rios, you
I
want
just
to
wanted
add?
to clarify, Mr. Mesa, that this is just the first phase to get access to where the new life skills building is. Hopefully, in the near future, we can present a budget proposal to the board to complete the entire loop, but this is definitely an awesome step in the right direction.
So it will go a little bit beyond the self-contained classroom there?
It's definitely going to be the permanent entrance to that future
Loop.
that we're going to create, but it will just go to the life skills and then have a little exit towards it. So it'll be the first part of the road, probably 25% of the road. That's what we're looking at.
Okay. I'm glad you clarified, because I thought it was going to be the whole connection from Main Street to, what is it, Wildcat?
It's a Wildcat.
Wildcat.
No, not yet, sir. We'll hopefully be presenting something.
Okay, but at least it's 1/4 of it, 25%, somewhat. Okay. Any questions for Mr. Chapa? If not, recommendation.
Yes, sir. It is a recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the construction documents phase with Amistad Consulting Services, Inc. for the Del Rio High School Access Loop Phase 1 project.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Becky Chavez, seconded by Ms. Gonzalez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Thank you, sir. Item 13, Business and Finance, consideration to approve modification of the 2023-2024 general fund balance commitments. Amy Childress.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This evening, I bring to you a consideration to approve the modification of our 2023-24 general fund committed balances. The first modification we are bringing to you is in April of 2023, the Board of Trustees approved a memorandum and agreement between the district and the city of Del Rio for the renovation of the Cody Wardlaw Gym, and we did receive the funds from the city of Del Rio in the amount of $1,250,000 that we would like in October, and we would like to commit those funds to the Cody Wardlaw Gym renovation project. The second modification that we're bringing to you is we currently have student meal money set aside for Ceniza Hills in the amount of $500,000 that at this time we are not needing the full amount. And we have needs for special population classroom furniture at Lonnie Green in the amount of $77,976, and for additional Chromebook carts in the amount of $22,000 that we would like to reallocate funds from the Ceniza Hills student meals towards those two items.
Just a little bit of a correction, sir. It says contact Israel Carrera.
Oh.
That needs to be
On the memo?
Yes, on the second line.
on page 234, sir. That needs to be updated. He's been gone for a while. Questions for Amy Childress? Fund balance commitments? Again, furniture for special ed and Chromebook carts. Hearing no questions, recommendation, please.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the modification of the 2023-2024 general fund balance commitments as discussed.
For the recommendation, is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Item 13B, consideration to approve a purchase order with over $25,000 with Indico sales in the amount not to exceed $77,900 $976. Funding source committed funds for the purchase and installation of furniture for the special population skills classroom at Lonnie Green. Amy Childress.
Good evening once more, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, and members of the board. This item is in conjunction with the prior committed balance fund modification, and at this time, I am bringing the purchase order for approval of the furniture for the Lonnie Green Special Populations.
Question from board members? Hearing none. Recommendation.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the purchase order over $25,000 with Indico Sales in the amount not to exceed $77,976 for the purchase and installation of furniture for the Special Population Life Skills classrooms at Dr. Lonnie Green Elementary.
You've heard the recommendation. I'll ask for a motion. Motion made by Becky Chavez, seconded by Mr. Orfeld. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. Next item we have is item 14, Human Resources. Item 8, discussion possible action to approve employee job descriptions and evaluation forms. Aida Garcia.
Good evening, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. The following job descriptions are being recommended to update to reflect the change in supervisor. And this was due to the restructure in cabinet. There is a change, though, to one job description, and you'll find a copy next to your computer, and it's our data fellow, because this position is more of a data position. We are removing the experience as a campus leader. We are leaving the master's degree because most of the positions in pay grade 4 do have a master's degree. And we're removing the teaching or administrative requirement, and it's 3 to 5 years successful relevant experience. The other job descriptions, as I mentioned, it's more an update to reflect the new supervisor. And this includes the head custodian, data fellow, as we mentioned earlier, federal and state programs director, PEAMS data quality compliance and accountability director, CTE director, fine arts director, 21st Century Community Learning Center program director, technology director, systems-wide testing curriculum coordinator, chief academic officer secretary, instructional technology curriculum coordinator, and the chief compliance and accountability secretary. Any questions?
Question from board members? Hearing none. Recommendation, please.
It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve the employee job description evaluations forms as discussed.
Heard the recommendation. I'll entertain a motion for approval. Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Ms. Orfeld. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Okay, the time is 7:35 p.m. We're going to go into, oops, we have item B, I'm sorry, compensation plans. Consideration item 14B, consideration to approve the updated 2023-2024 district compensation plans. Aida Garcia.
Yes, sir. Next to your computer, you'll find an updated copy, and the update only reflects a change in the substitute, which I'll note when we go over that section. But most of these changes that we're requesting tonight are changes that were approved during our October board meeting, but because the compensation plan was tabled, we're bringing them tonight for your approval. The first one is on pay grade 1. We have the custodial coordinator, and if you remember, we added another custodial coordinator due to the number of custodians that we have in our district. So one of them is going to supervise the elementary campuses and departments, and the other one is going to supervise the secondary campuses. In pay grade 3, we're removing the purchasing coordinator, and as you recall, that position was converted to the data fellow, which is listed there on pay grade 4. Then in pay grade 9, We converted the position of Chief Innovation Officer to Chief Compliance and Accountability Officer. Under supplemental stipends, we're making a change for the ROTC to note on there that the MIP varies because every year it's different. It's not a 6,600. It's depending on the military instructor pay, I'm sorry. And then the extra days, they don't work 20 extra days, they only work 10. The note that we mentioned earlier that is different from what is in your board book is the asterisk on the top of the substitute pay scale. And we noted on there after 5 consecutive days for same instructor, because now we also have long-term for paraprofessionals as well. And then we're also noted on there must be half-day assignments on separate days. So there was a misunderstanding, and because substitutes get paid more for half days, they were only picking up half a day at different campuses. So we just want to make sure that if you work that one day, whether it's half day in one campus and half day in another campus, it's still the 1 day pay rate. So that is noted on there as well. Then the last update that we have is on the part-time temporary pay. We're including our temporary teachers for the after-school program, the ACE program. So our temporary teachers are teachers that are the teacher of record, and they are eligible to work an after-school tutorial program. So they do qualify to get paid the $40. We're including a teacher ACE program who are degreed but not certified. That's only in the event that they cannot find teachers to tutor. Then we can have substitutes who are degreed tutor, and they'll get paid $30 an hour. And those are all the changes that we have to the compensation pay plan, if you have any questions.
Any questions, board members? Hearing none, recommendation, please.
It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the updated 2023-2024 district compensation plan as presented.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Overfelt. Is there a second to the motion? Seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
Thank you. We're going to go into closed session pursuant again to 551.074 and 551.071 of the Texas Education Code. Board members, we are going to table item C and D until we have, again, the rest of the board members with us. Pretty important discussions on these two items. So again, item C and D will be tabled. We're now in closed session. The time is 7:40 p.m. Okay, the time is 8:58 p.m. We're reconvening to open session. No action was taken in executive. We're down to item 18A, consideration to approve personnel report to include the following: new hires, district vacancies, retirements, resignations. Aide Garcia.
Good evening again, President Mesa, Dr. Rios, members of the board. It is the recommendation of administration that the Board of Trustees approve resignation, vacancies, and the following new personnel: Brittany West, 4th grade bilingual teacher for Ceniza Hills Elementary; Jennifer Zamora, 2nd grade teacher for Garfield Elementary; Priscilla Sanchez, 4th grade teacher for Lamar Elementary; and Lourdes Rivera, 2nd grade teacher for Lamar Elementary.
Heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Ms. Gonzalez, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Item B, discussion possible action for salary adjustments to include but not limited to the following: service credit, salary matrix adjustments. Aide Garcia.
Yes, sir. It is the recommendation of the administration that the Board of Trustees approve the salary adjustment as discussed in closed session.
You've heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Overfeld, seconded by Amy Haynes. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously.
Thank you.
We're tabling item C and we're tabling item D. We go on to item E, possible action regarding special education classroom personnel issue. Dr. Rios.
Mr. Mesa, members of the board, in accordance with discussions held in closed session, I request that a board member move to release the report as discussed in closed session.
Heard the recommendation. Is there a motion for approval? Motion made by Mr. Overfeld, seconded by Becky Chavez. All those in favor? Motion carries unanimously. Next item we have is superintendent's report. Item 19A, discussion regarding date for regular January 2024 school board meeting. Dr. Rios.
Yes, Mr. Mesa, because the holidays will extend into the second week of January, and then the following week would already be the third Monday of the month, we would like to have the regular January board meeting on the fourth Monday of the month, would effectively make it January 22nd. We'll double check with all board members, but in past years, we've done something similar.
January 22nd?
Yes, sir, Monday, January 22nd.
Is that also board recognition month?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So that's just information. There being no other items on the agenda, is there a motion for adjournment? Motion made by Amy Haynes, seconded by Mr. Overfeld. All those in favor? Motion carries. We are adjourned. Thank you and good night, everyone.